Okay, we are at the top of the hour. Welcome, everybody. We're excited you could join us tonight. We've got people from all over that were wanting to see this, so we opted to go Zoom tonight instead of live. And we're so excited to be able to share with you what we found. My husband, Eric, and I have been in this industry for a lot of decades, as I'm sure he'll tell you. I'm excited to turn the time over to my husband, Eric Albrechtsen. He's a master in this industry. And if you're ready to have your life changed, he will show you an avenue to do so. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Trish. Appreciate you, those that are taking just a few minutes out of your time to spend with us. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to share you some information, not only how to improve your health, which a lot of people are concerned about with the COVID virus and everything that's going on, but I'm going to show you a way how you can make some money. And not only just some money to cover some bills, but some extra money on top of that. And it's a system that my wife and I have put together. We've been involved in the network marketing or multi-level marketing industry for about 28 years now. And we've succeeded in several companies. And I'm going to show you a few things as to how we did that and why we succeeded when in the past times we tried it, things had not succeeded. And I think a lot of people will go through these very same steps and different things like that in their life when they're involved in network marketing that my wife and I did and didn't have the success. So that's kind of my goals. I'm going to go through all of those things. But first, a little bit about myself. I grew up in northern Utah. My dad was a forest ranger. My wife and I, after we got married, we ended up moving down to Arizona. And we moved down to Arizona because we had started a window washing business, and down there we could do it year round. And there was just enough people down there that we figured we could make a good living. So as we did that, we started a little family. We've got two girls that are married, a son that's serving a mission for our church. He's also a Marine. And also we've got a 16-year-old daughter. So as we moved down there and we started a little family and got things going, as a dad, I started to realize that because of the workload that I had, I was missing a lot of family activities. But still, we were also tied to the weather. Our income would go up and it would go down just based on different things with the weather. So we ended up starting a couple other businesses. We started a lawn care business and we started a landscaping business. And what tended to happen was now my workload went up. I started these other ones because I thought, well, I could hire some employees, they could do the work for me. But I found myself working typically from 4 o'clock in the morning to about 10, 11 o'clock every single night, 6 days a week. And if my family went on vacation, a lot of times I didn't even get to go. Or if I did go, I was always on the phone and trying to make things working back at home. And so it became very, very frustrating. During that time frame, we got introduced to the network marketing, or a lot of people refer to as multi-level marketing industry. And I got involved with it because the first time I saw it, I had a guy who had made a lot of money in that industry. He sat down and he showed me how it worked and why it worked and what was so different than a traditional business. And when I saw the business concept, it made a lot of sense to me. And so we got on board. Like I said, unfortunately, our first couple of companies that we got involved in, we never really made much income, if anything at all. And then something happened. In 2009, we got asked to meet with an individual, a guy named David Brown. I'll talk about him here in a little bit. But in 2009, we got involved with a company. And because of the timing of that company and the time that we got involved, we helped grow that company from $0 to $215 million. And it changed ourselves financially forever. We became multimillionaires. We also helped a lot of people make income. We helped literally thousands of people make incomes everywhere from $500 to $5,000, $10,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 plus more. We actually helped a group of people, about a dozen of them, make in excess of $100,000 a month. And it was all because of some very simple principles that we had figured out and how to make it work. So I'm going to cover those. But so tonight we're going to be talking about a company called Activz. Okay. Activz is a network marketing company. They're based out of Utah. They've got a big manufacturing facility down here as well. It's just massive, state of the art. But Activz is a company that got started in 2017. Okay. And I'm writing down these years because the history of things, it's going to play out a little bit. So when I bring things up here in the beginning, it'll kind of make sense. But let me show you what happened in 2009 and why things changed. Okay, there's a guy named Peter Drucker. He's a financial analyst, and what he did is he studied companies and what made them succeed and why some of them failed. And hopefully you can see that on the board, but it's a little S curve. Okay. And it's when a company gets started over here at zero, they go through what's called a pioneering stage. Okay, that time frame in a company will typically last anywhere to 3 to 5 years. But what Peter Drucker found out is if a company made it to a point where it was doing roughly $4 million a month in sales, or about 50 million a year, something happened with that company. And it didn't matter what the company was, but they all did the same thing. So about 50 million a year, all of a sudden the company went into a massive hyper growth phase. And that's where 80% of a company's business would then come from. And they referred to this point as critical mass and momentum. Once they kind of grown through that just crazy growth phase, then the company kind of stabilized and just, went just on a very steady growth, 2 to maybe 5% if it was really good. But this little chart here was something that when somebody showed it to me, it made a lot of sense. And why it did is because here I had my window washing business, and I had a lot of individuals who were very, very wealthy. And I was curious to them as to why they had succeeded in their profession when I knew other individuals in that very same profession who had not succeeded. And you could probably actually look at this in your career, in your profession, and in the industry that you're in. Have you ever noticed that there's a few people that make more money than everybody else? And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be real estate. It could be the dot-coms. It could be just a family type business. But there's a group of individuals that always make more money than others. And what they are doing and why they succeed is very, very unique. So that's something that was curious to me as a young guy. And so as I met with these individuals that were very, very successful, got to get the right word there. These individuals were very successful. I would take them out to lunch and dinner. And I just had one question for them. Again, I was like in 23, 25, 27 years old, right through there, a young guy. And I wanted to know. And so I said, look, I'll buy you lunch and dinner. I just want to have one question. What did you do so different than everybody else? And what was interesting is after I had talked to 100 millionaires, and this took several years to do, as I took them out to lunch and dinner and I asked them that one question, every single one of them responded with the same answer. And it didn't matter if they had a doctorate, PhDs, high school educated, high school dropout, they all told me the same thing. And what they said, Eric, it has nothing to do with what we know. It's who we know, when we know that person, and then what do we do with that information? Okay. And that right there was the secret to their success. Now, here's a couple examples. If I ask, how many people in here know Bill Gates? Well, everybody would raise their hand. We all know who Bill Gates is. Everybody knows who Elon Musk is. But we didn't know them at the right place and the right time. See, back in 1984-ish, right through that time frame, Bill Gates decided to take a computer that was the size of a bedroom and put it on an office desk. And a lot of people at the time thought, there's no way you can do that. There's no way you can take a computer that's this big and put it on a desk. Well, he was able to do that. And the original investors, you can actually go look this photo up. It's kind of funny. The original investors of Microsoft, Bill Gates looks like he's about 14 years old, and the rest of his investors look like they're drug dealing hippies. And he started it in a garage. Okay, jump forward to Elon Musk. Elon Musk had an idea where he was going to, rather than build internal combustion engines or the gas vehicles, he decided he was going to create electric vehicles. Now, a lot of people thought, well, there's nobody who wants to do that. They're not going to be able to drive very far. They're going to run out of energy and all those kind of things. Everybody had all these concerns. And so he was pitching that idea. Some people thought he was crazy and nuts. Again, there was a group of individuals that believed him. They invested in that company and got that company off the ground. And today, Elon is one of the wealthiest guys in the entire world, and the company's succeeding, and everybody wants a Tesla motor. Okay. So again, it's who you know when you know that person, what do you do with the information. So once I started to understand that, I actually started looking for those opportunities. Now, there was a part of me kind of hoping that one of these guys that I worked for would come out and go, hey, you work really good. You're washing the windows really well, or your landscapers are doing such a great job. I need a CEO for my next company. I'm going to hire you. Okay. There was a part of me that kind of hoped for that, but the reality was that was not going to happen. Okay. So I looked for opportunity. And so on a regular basis, we would get asked to look at different businesses. And during that time frame, we would check them out and talk to them. Now, the business opportunity that we got to look at the most was multi-level marketing or network marketing. And it got kind of be to the funny joke with me and Trisha, because people would call like, hey, we want to show you something. And I go, well, let me guess, it's multi-level marketing. They're like, well, how did you know? I said, well, for literally every week for the last 25 years, we've had people ask us to look at that on a regular basis. Now, I wasn't opposed to it, because I had individuals that had succeeded big time in Amway and Nu Skin and Melaleuca, and the list goes on and on. Again, I worked for these individuals, and I knew that they had succeeded and they'd done very well. So in 2009, I had a very good friend of mine. He called me and he said, there's a brand new company getting started. We're going to go meet with the CEO. Will you meet us there? And so I drove over to San Diego to meet with this individual. This guy, his name is David Brown. And when we met with him, I was just kind of holding back a little bit. I was just kind of listening to the presentation. And he actually jokes about how literally I was probably the only one kind of there with my arms folded, a little bit skeptical of what he was saying. But after he got done with the presentation and shared everything, I ended up driving back to Phoenix. That's, to a little town called Queen Creek where we live. And my wife called and she said, so what about this company? And I said, I don't know, but there's something different here. And I said, I'll talk to you about it when we get home, but I think this is the one. And so we sat down, we talked about what we'd seen, and we got on board, and life changed. And the reason being is we got a chance to start with this company. It was a brand new company. Okay. And we got to capture this entire growth phase. Again, and we grew this company from $0 to $215 million in less than 5 years. We set all sorts of records in the industry, and a lot of people became very, very wealthy. Now, this was not the only component that made us succeed and allowed us to succeed. Hold on, I'm going to shut this curtain here a little bit. Hopefully I'm going to allow that whiteboard to be seen just a little bit better. Remove that glare. All right. All right, hopefully that will help a little bit, okay? So this was not the only component that was part of it. The other things that Peter Drucker talked about was, he says, first off, you also need to look at the company. You need to look at the product. You need to look at the timing, okay, which that's this right here. And then you look at the trends, compensation, and is there a system that allows it to be duplicatable? Now, Peter Drucker said, when you have all of these components together, this is what creates an opportunity. He says, if you're missing one of these components, the chances of that opportunity succeeding long-term start to diminish. Okay, if you're missing one of those, you're now down to 70%. He said, if you're missing two, you're at 60. He says, if you're missing three of these things, now you're pretty much that company's not going to succeed at all, because you probably need to find something else. And so as Trish and I, we use this to look at different companies. Well, in 2009, this particular company that we looked at had everything in place, all of these things, okay? So we jumped on board and did that. Now, fast forward a few years. This particular company, sadly, it was publicly traded. It was traded on the NASDAQ. Even though we succeeded very well, the problem was, any publicly traded company, we always had to deal with the shareholders and the board of directors and all these individuals. And what happened is they pretty much ruined our opportunity. They would change the compensation plan to because they needed more money. They worked with the product. They changed the formulation of the product that we originally had. So the original formulator, he left the company, and that changed things. Eventually, Trish and I, we got tired of dealing with this. Even though we were making a very significant income, at the end of the day, I wanted to be able to lay my head on my pillow and know that whatever I was involved in, that anybody else could participate in and succeed and have the successes that we did. And so a little over 3 years ago, Trish and I, we walked away from that company. Now, as we did that, we had a 2-year non-compete. But we got looking at a lot of different companies. We literally had companies fly us in. We had hundreds of companies that looked at us. They fly us in. It's like, hey, we want you to look at this company. We want you to look at this one. We'll even start a company. We just want you guys to be the face of the company. And we're like, oh, look, we appreciate that, but that's not how it all works. And what we did is we took every one of these opportunities and we looked at them with this. So we could take that emotion out of there and look at it from a business standpoint of view and look at what was happening. Now, as we were doing this process, the original founders of this company that we had left, they had left, the original doctor had left, all of the key individuals that started that company had left. And over the course of that couple of year time frame, they all worked back together and they decided to formulate and start a new company, but this time it was going to be held privately, so nobody could change things, and they had control of everything. And this is the company Activz, okay? So as that's taking place, Trish and I are looking at all these different companies. We didn't look at this company because of our non-compete, but once our non-compete was up, have you ever been doing something and you get a very strong impression that you need to do something? This was a little over a year and a half ago, literally a couple of weeks right before COVID kicked off. I'm laying there in my bed. It was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I get this very strong prompting to call the CEO of Activz, David Brown. And I look at my watch and I say, oh, it's kind of late. I'll call him tomorrow. Or maybe I'll text him. And I get this, no, call him now. Have you ever had something like that happen in your life? Okay. So I'm literally, now I'm thinking, oh, it's like, maybe I'll just text them. No, call now. So it's just one of those things. And I try to teach my kids that when you get these little promptings, but whatever it is, you need to follow through with those. And so here I was in this situation. I get up, even though it's late. I called David, and I hadn't talked to him for about 2 years. I called him and I said, hey, what is going on with your company? I said, our non-compete is up. We're looking for a home, but I'm not just looking for any home. I'm looking for a company that can be a legacy company. We're looking for a place that our kids and our grandkids can get involved in, and to be able to pass down a legacy, not something that's 3 or 4 or 5 years and yeah, we can make some money and then we got to go find something new. I said, I'm looking for something as a legacy company. And so we ended up talking for about an hour that night. And a couple of days later, Trish and I got in the car and we drove up to northern Utah and Salt Lake area where their headquarters. We sat down and we met with them. And they started walking through everything. And as we started showing everything, all of these key components started to line up. And my wife and I decided, you know what? This is one of those magic moments. We're getting involved with the company. And we signed up and we got everything ready. And unfortunately, literally 3 weeks later, COVID hit, and everything had to change. And during that time frame, a lot of people weren't doing Zooms. People didn't know about Zoom or how to jump on board or things like that. A lot of what we'd done was always in person, and so we kind of had to claw things back a little bit. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise. We were able to then put together and organize everything. And we eventually got launched here with Activz in the US market on the 1st of July, just about 65, 70 days ago. And we kicked things off. And guys, we couldn't be more excited about what's going on. So I know that's a long intro, but I want you to understand that what you're looking at is not something that happens very often. What you have is a very unique situation that all of the ducks have lined up in a row, so to speak, okay? So let me look at the company. Peter Drucker said, whoever's running the company, they need to better know what they're doing. They need to have enough finances. They need to to be able to have those things in place to succeed. A lot of people, they want to start a business, but they've never run a business before. And sure, you might get it to where you're doing a couple $100,000 in sales and things like that. But to really get to the big time, you better have somebody that understands all the dynamics of everything. So the company was founded in 2017. It was founded by David Brown, Ryan Thompson, Angie, I forget her name. Angie, she started with the company. So these three, they founded this company, privately held, and they launched it. Okay. Now in 2017, rather than opening up here in the US market, because of the connections that the Ryan Thompson had, who's the president of this company, he speaks Spanish very well. His next door neighbor was from Mexico, and they decided to open up down in Mexico, which was usually different from most MLMs. Most MLMs, they want to start in the US, and then they kind of venture to all the other countries. Well, they decided to launch down there. Well, as they did so, things took off, and they have been crushing it down there in Mexico. Now they're in Mexico, Colombia, and Peru. Okay, just barely opened those other two countries, but they literally have tens of thousands of distributors. They got people in Mexico, little tiny town Mexico is making 10, 20, 30, 40 plus $1,000 a month. They got some individuals making over $80,000 a month just down there in Mexico, and it's a brand new opportunity. So if you can create those types of incomes in that country, guess what? Here in the United States, this is the #1 place in the world to do network marketing. And so we have something special here. So they launched down in Mexico, crushing it. David Brown, he used to be the CEO of this last company that I talked about. He helped grow that to 215 million. He actually worked for a small company, small in quotes, a little company called Metabolife. He was the CEO of that company. He took them from obscurity to over $1 billion in sales. The guy understands business, but what's more important, this is a guy of integrity. This guy, he understands people. He understands the dynamics of all those little things. And just a very good person. This is the kind of person that my kids have grown up knowing David and his wife and his kids. And this is just a guy that when you lay your head on your pillow at night, you know the right decisions are being made. And he's looking out for the interests of all of us there. So that's a little bit about the company. By the way, after 2017, today the company, because they're doing so well in Mexico, they're in the black financially, they're taken care of, everything's in place there, and they're profitable, which is important. And they have never missed a commission check in Mexico, Colombia, or Peru, down through there in those areas, okay? So that's the company. So you got a little check mark there, okay? Let's talk about the product. And a lot of people came here because they heard about our products. Our products are super, super cool, okay? One thing that Peter Drucker said, he said, whatever your product is, he says it needs to be unique, proprietary, leading edge, and consumable. He says, if you can hit those factors, he says, then you have something very, very special, okay? Well, David Brown, understanding those key components, as he put together Activz, they garnered and brought together these products that were in that field. The top scientist and researcher for the company that we had left is a guy named Dr. Joe McCord. Dr. Joe McCord is a very renowned scientist. This guy is an absolute genius in a class of his own, okay? And why so? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a biology lesson, okay? And by the way, I'm barely high school educated, so if I can figure this out, anybody can. Okay, my brothers are doctors, not me. Here's the human cell. Okay, here's the nucleus. What they were studying, Dr. McCord, in the late 60s, they were studying the human cell, and they were trying to figure out these little things inside the cell called free radicals. They didn't know if they were really good or if they were bad, and so he was trying to figure that out along with everybody else. And while he was doing that, he discovered an enzyme, okay? This little enzyme there in the cell, it was going around and eating up the free radicals. And it was eating about 1 million of them per second, every second. And every cell had this little enzyme in it. This little enzyme is so important to our health, okay? First off, it's called superoxide dismutase. okay? This little cell, so vastly important that Dr. McCord, he's been nominated 4 times for the Nobel Prize in Medicine because of this little cell that he found. He also has been given an award called the Elliott Crescent Medal. Okay, you can go look this up later. Dr. McCord is the last person to receive this award. And this award is very, very prestigious. Only a few people have received it, less than, I think, he's number 300. He was the last person to, okay? The people that have received this, their science, research, or invention has to have an impact on all of humanity. Some of the other people that have received it, Orville Wright, Henry Ford, Madame Curie, Alexander Graham Bell, people like that. And now Dr. McCord, because he found this little enzyme, okay? This little enzyme, as they started to realize it was getting rid of the free radicals, they realized that this was huge and this was vastly important, because what they found out was these little free radicals, they bounce around inside the cell and they cause damage to the cell. Once that little cell is damaged, it leads to a lot of problems. It starts to get inflammation, and that inflammation tends to, and the breakdown of that cell leads to pretty much every known disease out there, from diabetes, cancer, heart attack, strokes, depression. Every disease out there and problem that originates with your body is because of the damage being done by these free radicals, okay? Well, Dr. McCord, as they studied this, what they found is, I need to make my little cell just a little smaller, okay? Here's a little enzyme. Dr. McCord, what they found was, here you are, you're born at 0. Our bodies produce this little enzyme, okay? Up until about 20 years old. Around 20 years old, the production of this enzyme starts to drop off. By the time you're between 40 to 65 plus, that little enzyme is not there in the body, at least not very much, okay? And what happens is every time you eat, every time you breathe, every time you exercise, you create free radicals, okay? Well, as this becomes a problem because there's no way to get rid of the free radicals and things are breaking down and the problems start to happen. And you think about it, when do most major problems happen with your body? Well, it happens typically the older you get. The older you get, the less resilient your body is. You get sick, it takes longer to get better. If you break a bone, it takes longer. You don't hear about young kids getting Alzheimer's and those kind of things. Most diseases are age related, and the older you get, the more of them you have, okay? Well, Dr. McCord, as they understood this, he tried to invent a synthetic version of this. He was not able to do it. For 40 years, him and his colleagues were trying to invent this process and trying to replicate this, because if they could get rid of the free radicals, then they could improve the health and they could slow down the aging process and those types of things. Well, as they were doing that, discoveries of antioxidants came out, okay? Antioxidants. Everybody should know what an antioxidant is. If you don't, you might need to get out of your house a little bit, okay? Antioxidants are found in fruits and vegetables and vitamins and different things like that. Antioxidants, they found these different fruits and vegetables and berries and stuff would get rid of the free radicals. And at first they were like, okay, great, now we have a way to compete against that and get rid of them. But what they found is in the last 15, 20 years, they found out that that's really not an effective way to do that. As a matter of fact, every antioxidant, no matter where it comes from, works the same way. One antioxidant molecule kills one free radical, and they kill themselves in the process, okay? And so now every time you eat this berry or drink this juice or take this particular vitamin or whatever, you're not getting rid of very many free radicals. It's not having much of an impact. As a matter of fact, your body actually looks at it as food, and food is one of the byproducts is free radicals. So literally you can't eat enough of them to have much of an impact. You're actually contributing to the process and the decrease of the cell more so by taking them. So here they were kind of a standstill. Dr. McCord at this time, he's working at the University of Colorado, the group of individuals, and one of the guys that he worked with, one of his coworkers, had an idea. They said, Dr. McCord, rather than trying to invent that, what if we could tell the body to start making more of it? That was kind of a novel idea, but they went with it. And where they started is they looked at some different antioxidants and they started working with them because they figured, well, that's the best place to start. Well, as they started getting different groups of ingredients together, call it luck, the grace of God, science and research, however you want to look at it, what they found is when they got this group of natural ingredients together, there was 5 of them. When they got this group of ingredients together, something happened when they introduced that to the body. When they introduced this formulation, within 24 to 48 hours, literally every cell started to produce this enzyme again. Not only this enzyme, but a whole host of other enzymes, things like catalase and glutathione, as well as SOD. They found that it actually turned on over 1,000 of our survival genes, okay? Every one of us are born with these survival genes, but as we age, some of them decrease, like SOD and catalase, and that's, those things. Others overproduce, which is a problem. But when this formulation was introduced, they all leveled out and the body started to produce them naturally. And if you stayed on that formulation, what happened was the amount of free radicals dropped dramatically, okay, by 80%. Well, that was exciting. Well, now they had something to work with. This particular formulation was, like I said, in the early 2000s, okay? And by 2005, enough research, they've now got the product, they put it out on the market shelves, they had it at GNC and High Health and other places. Well, Dr. McCord was featured on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, Good Morning America, and he was actually put on a show called ABC Primetime. Most of you probably are familiar with that. ABC Primetime, the investigative reporter John Quinones had heard about this, and he was a little skeptical of the deal. Because here, up to this point, most supplements were just to, again, supplement not having enough of stuff. This was actually doing something different. This was telling your DNA to turn back on. And so he came to Dr. McCord basically to expose him and call BS on everything. Well, when he got done with Dr. McCord and spending time with him, one, the science backed everything up. He actually had taken the product, and the amount of oxidative stress that he had in his body had dropped from him as an older guy down to that of a newborn baby. What they found is it didn't matter your age. It didn't matter if you're 80 years old, if you're 60 years old, didn't matter how you ate, exercised, or all those things. It didn't matter. Every single person, it turned this system back on and got things running. So this was huge. Well, in 2005, ABC, they ran with this story. And it took that company from obscurity, selling maybe a bottle a month of product on the shelf, to over $5 million of product in the next 30 days. But then they ran out of ingredients. They didn't have enough to keep things going. So the sales all fell flat. They end up hiring somebody to bring this up and around. They hire a guy named David Brown. That's the guy I talked about earlier, okay? So they hired David Brown. They said, what can you do to increase this? His suggestion was, take it out of retail, put it into an MLM, and the rest was history. Today, that company still does about $195 million. They haven't really grown much, okay? And there's a lot of reasons for that, but that's kind of where they're at. Well, fast forward to 2017, Dr. McCord had left this company, we had left the company, all the CEO, all the corporate staff had left. I've gone through like multiple individuals, like 5 or 6 CEOs. It's just, they've struggled over there. So in 2017, they get back together with Dr. McCord, and they said, where are you at with research? And this is what he showed them. He had been working on the formulation from 2000 all the way up to 2017. And they had the original formulation that was shown on ABC Primetime. Here's a little graph. It was at the very bottom of this graph. He had made another formulation to improve this, because what they found was there's a thing called NRF2, NRF2, NRF2. This was the thing that was turning everything on. They found that this formulation, it was starting to work. But when Dr. McCord looked at this, it wasn't producing NRF2 long enough. It turned it on for a couple hours, but it wouldn't stay on all day long, okay? So he wanted to keep this process going longer and longer. So he worked on improving the formulation. He went through 5 iterations, okay? Then on the 5th one, one stood out, like head and shoulders above anything. Okay, we call that formulation genomics, and it's literally 10 times stronger than the original formulation. This is Dr. McCord's chart. Dr. McCord's chart. Sorry about that. Get my little word salad going here. Okay, this right here, his scientists and researchers found that they were able to keep this NRF2 production going literally all day long. Okay, and it was doing this now 24/7. As so long as you were on the product, NRF2 is being produced, and all the survival genes, everything was brought back in order. Everything was working longer, which then had a bigger impact on the health. Okay, well, when Activz got started, Dr. McCord, they licensed this formulation from him. Okay, so we have it. Nobody else can get it. If they improve upon this, we also have the agreement to get that as well. So Dr. McCord likes David Brown and Ryan and Angie and the group they've put together. So they've already negotiated everything. So not only do we have the best NRF2 activator in the world, if anything else comes along from these guys, we get that as well. So that is our first product, genomics. Okay. So that one, again, meets the criteria. It's unique, it's proprietary, it's leading edge. Nobody else has it. You can't go down to any health food store and even buy anything remotely close to this. Okay, this is the coolest product in the world. So I'm going to write this out here, genomics, because it's part of what we call the trifecta. The next product I'm going to show you is a product called Link, L-I-N-Q. Okay, we call it Link because it's the link between the gut and the brain. Over the last 7 to 10 years, they found that there's a huge correlation in our overall body health from the gut and the brain. Everything that your brain needs has to first start down in the gut, okay? And then one of the most important things that our body can have to make all of this happen is an ingredient called butyric acid. Butyric acid is a short-chain fatty acid, okay? Butyric acid is the most beneficial way to get this. Our bodies produce it naturally. We get it through nursing when we're young babies. It is so important to our health because it controls all sorts of things. All of your hormones in your bodies, from the insulins, the serotonins, the dopamines, the human growth hormone, all of those hormones are important because of butyric acid, okay? It makes them function. It is also the food for the cells the cells in your internal organs. So they require a little bit different food. So your liver and your heart and your lungs and your kidneys and all of those things to stay healthy and to help repair themselves, and the intestinal tract, large and small, they require this short chain fatty acid, butyric acid, in order to work and function properly. The problem is because of our diets, we don't get this taking place in our body. And as a result, a lot of us have very poor health. And it stems from right there in the intestinal tract. What happens is the intestines start to break down and they get holes in them. So you get things like leaky gut syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, you get diverticulitis, you get Crohn's disease. All of these issues stemming from that. Well, as that breaks down, so does all of the central nervous system and the ability for the nutrients to cross the blood-brain barrier and to have an impact on the brain cells. The neurons, because of oxidative stress, they begin to break down. And the only way to repair all of this is to have butyric acid in the body. Now, here's the kicker, because I'm thinking like, okay, well, this is going to be a really cool product. But then David says, well, the problem is butyric acid, you can get it at most health food stores. It's not an issue finding it. The problem is getting people to take it because it smells like diarrhea and it tastes like vomit. It's literally what gives vomit and diarrhea, that really gross smell, okay? So it's a problem that nobody wants to take it. Companies have tried to mask the smell. And I mean, it's gross. They've tried different chocolates and salts and all these kind of things, but it's never been effective. There was a scientist and researcher with our company here at Activz. What they were able to do is they were able to wrap the molecules of butyric acid in such a way that there was no taste, there was no smell. It would actually get past the stomach and the stomach acids, And then once it got into the intestinal tract, that's where all the food is broken down and started to be absorbed and pushed around through the body. Okay. They found that they could get this down into the intestinal tract. It would slowly time release. So it wasn't just this big mag dump of everything and your body, didn't get a chance to absorb it. The body was able to absorb this formulation, and it started to repair the leaky gut syndrome and the Crohn's disease and diverticulitis and all those issues. And it started the reparative process through the central nervous system. And with the brain, it could help create new brain cells. And what it also did is it connected and regrew the neurons back, okay? Again, this was science that was already known about this product, but nobody wanted to take it. So all these magical things started to happen within the body. And because this product is patent pending, nobody else has access to it, we're the only ones that have this ability, we got the attention of a particular doctor. This guy is named Dr. Joe Maroon. Dr. Joe Maroon happens to be head of neurology at the little place out in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh University, okay? This guy is world renowned for being a brain surgeon. He's done thousands of brain surgeries and helped a lot of people. But one thing that he always wanted his patients to do was take butyric acid, because it would help with the healing process of the brain and traumatic injuries and things like that. And it would restart the immune system. Again, the immune system, to even function, it needs this butyric acid. In order for the whole part of the body to start functioning, he wanted his patients to take that, but they would like, Dr. Maroon, sounds great, but it smells really bad and it's going to taste even worse. I'm out. No, I'm not going to take that. And for years, he's been looking for a way to get his patients to do that. When he found out that our company happened to have a product that was able to do that, he then called up and said, okay, I want to be a distributor. I need a bunch of the product because I want my patients to start taking this. And so he now is not only a distributor with the company, he also sits on our medical advisory board with Dr. McCord, okay? Starting to stack up some pretty cool individuals. Also, by the way, Dr. Maroon and his colleagues, he helped create the protocol for concussions. So if you have a kid that's ever played any sport, from Pee-wee, Little League, college, professional, anywhere in between, every athlete has to go through the concussion protocol to even play the sports. Now, if they end up getting a concussion, they follow Dr. Maroon's protocol. If you are in an accident, whether you fall or an automobile accident, you have a head injury and there's a concussion involved, you follow Dr. Maroon's protocol. Okay, that's how big a deal Dr. Maroon is. The guy is world renowned. He's like in his early 70s. He runs triathlons. The guy's just an animal. Super cool dude. Super brilliant. Okay. He called butyric acid the silver bullet to the human health. He just needed a way to get him to take it. We have this. This is Link, guys. This right here is one of the most incredible products. You will hear results, and there's studies on our websites that you can go look at, and you can go look it up in particular. But short chain fatty acid, butyric acid is the best form to get that in, and we have the only one in the world, and it's attracted attention from a lot of people. Okay, next one I'm going to show you is called Optimend. Optimend. If I were to ask how many of you have heard of turmeric, I would dare say that every single person would raise their hand. Turmeric is a very popular supplement. It's found in a lot of supplements because it's been known to help reduce inflammation. It's used as a cooking spice. It's all throughout India and Asia and those kind of places, but word is out on it, and you can literally find this anywhere. But here's the problem. Butyric acid, the molecule itself, is too big for the body to really absorb it. And so when people take it, they're thinking they're going to have this great experience and their inflammation is going to reduce, but it really doesn't happen. That's because 96% of what they're taking is just filler, okay? And then the molecules themselves, they can't be absorbed into the body, and so they just get flushed on out. And you had a little benefit maybe because you took some butyric acid because the turmeric because it's good for you, but you didn't really get the benefits that you were looking for. Well, the same scientists and researchers that created Link, they created Optimend. What they did is they looked at the plant and said, okay, what part of the plant is actually responsible for lowering inflammation? They identified those 4 parts of the plant, the molecules, okay, right down to the molecule. They took those 4 molecules out concentrated them, wrapped them in the same technology that Link is, so that it would get down past the stomach acid, because it's important, because the stomach acids break down the food and make it not available to the vast majority of the body. So if you can get it past that and then slow time release in the intestines, it's already broken down. It's broken down to the tiniest parts, the molecules. So it doesn't need to sit there in the acid. We needed to get past there into the body and start going to work. We now have the strongest natural anti-inflammatory product in the world, period. Nobody else even comes close, okay? It's because of the science and research behind this. This is a super cool product. When you can lower inflammation, you have a huge impact on overall health, okay? Again, going back to genomics, remember when the cell breaks down, starts inflammation, leads to various diseases. Okay, well, if we can lower oxidative stress and then we can lower inflammation in and of itself with Optimum, now we have a huge impact. Okay, not only just on the small part down to the cellular level, but when people go work out, let's say you go jogging in the morning, you're going to go to the gym and you work out and you're a little bit stiff and sore. A lot of people will take something like an ibuprofen just so they don't hurt as much. Well, if you take Optimum, you're going to get the same reduction in inflammation, if not more, but now it's all natural and there's no side effects. Okay, this makes it very, very good. Ibuprofen, yeah, it lowers inflammation, but it's very hard on the body. So now you've got a product that you can get the same results in the very same time frame. Okay, you take it within 10, 15 minutes, it is working. People that have chronic arthritis, maybe in their hands or their joints, different parts of the body, guys, we've seen results. Like my cousin, she's in her early 70s. And we showed her this product. She was a teacher for 40 years. And when she would use the chalkboard and write and everything like that, over the course of time, her hands and fingers started to hurt. And once she retired, she couldn't do a lot of the things that she wanted to do because of how much pain she was in. When we started her on these 3 products, and especially Optimum, she takes 1 or 2 times a day, the inflammation went away. And she looked at me one day, and just as I was leaving her house, and she started going, she goes, "Eric, look at this." And I go, what's going on? She goes, "I haven't been able to do that for decades." She goes, "This is the first time in my life I've never hurt." So this is a super cool product. We even have a pain specialist that works with Dr. Maroon. His name is Dr. Patel. Dr. Patel is a pain specialist. He'll actually prescribe this to his patients to reduce pain. Okay, and it reduces the pain and inflammation. And you don't have all the side effects. Super cool product. Well, these 3 products right here are what we call the trifecta. Now, I'm going to expound on genomics just a little bit more. Why? Because of what we've seen with COVID. And all of these are going to play a role in helping keep your body healthy. I'm not making any claims that this is going to prevent it or anything like that. But let me show you something, okay? Dr. McCord, as they started to study COVID-19. Now, studies on COVID itself, the virus, have been around for decades, okay? There's lots of variants of COVID. So when COVID-19 started to come out and Dr. McCord realized this was going to be a worldwide issue and a problem, he wanted to know what impact would activating NRF2 have in response to this, okay? And so as they looked at it, they already knew NRF2 had an impact on all the other COVIDs, but he wanted to know COVID-19. Well, COVID-19, okay, here's the little thing. It's got the little spiky things. Where it attaches to the cell is the same place that NRF2 is taking place to send the signal to make the cell healthy and function normally. So what it does is it's blocking the COVID virus from attaching to the cell, okay? Now, I'm not making any claims that this is gonna prevent COVID or anything like that. I'm just showing you what the science says. You can actually go read this study, look up Dr. McCord, COVID-19, NRF2, and you can read the study. It's online, he published it and everything like that. Super, super cool. So it's fascinating. Now, what's interesting is you jump forward to 18 or 19 months or where we're at, close to 2 years with COVID. Remember going back to the people from 0 to 20, that was the group that their body was just producing NRF2 and all these other wonderful things, okay? When we now have the kind of the hindsight 2020, we can look at it and say, okay, which group of individuals had the biggest problem with COVID? Those that were older, Okay, they were the most vulnerable, those with COVID morbidities and things like that. But the older generation, the older you got, the more concerned you became. Okay, well, why is that? Because nerf 2 was being produced and was blocking the virus. And if these kids did get it, it was more of a minor head cold than some major complication. Now, there are some kids that have ended up in the hospital, and some of them, unfortunately, have passed away. And that's a sad thing. So we still need to be cautious with that, take the necessary precautions, but we need to also be smart and get our bodies producing and functioning like they were when they were younger. So if we do come in contact with it and we do get the virus, that maybe our body doesn't end up with these major overblown complications, and that it can start to fight it naturally. Okay. So this is another benefit to that. Link. Okay. Why is link important to this COVID part of the equation? Well, the immune system. When you can rev up your immune system, that immune system needs the butyric acid in order to make that happen. Now we can work with that as well. So now you've got all your white blood cells and everything's function properly and trying to do its thing. You look at Optimend. Well, why is that important to the equation? Well, we know that when somebody does get COVID, and the inflammation in the lungs begins to happen, and you get this breakdown and the fluids begin to take place. Well, if we can lower that inflammation, not only just in the joints and everything, but all the way down to the cellular level, it allows our body to keep itself fighting against that, or it helps it so we don't actually get it. So super cool product. Again, not making any claims here. I'm just showing you what can happen. And again, our bodies know what to do. They just need the right tools to be able to do that. And hopefully nobody gets that. And if you do end up getting it, your body's in a better position to fight the virus and to deal with it. So they've created, Activz has created a package because of the pandemic. You can literally get a package of these. And so you're getting 2 of each. So you got husband and wife. They can set themselves up, and we'll talk about that in a second, but super cool things. Oh, also one more thing, as you're looking at this, some people are like, well, you know what? This really sounds cool. This really sounds amazing, but it almost sounds too good to be true. Let me tell you about another guy named Admiral Matt Winters. Admiral Winters just retired. He was when Activz was started, and when he first looked at Activz, he was the vice admiral, the second in command of the U.S. Navy. Okay, he's a researcher for the U.S. Navy. He was actually wanting to get the product genomics because he knew Dr. McCord. He'd studied Dr. McCord's research, and he wanted to continue to do the research with the latest and greatest stuff. And so he wanted to become a distributor so he could get the product, so he could do research. But also take the product himself. And the Navy said, hold on, before you do that, you can't just go jump onto anything. We've got to make sure it's not some little pyramid scheme or anything like that, you're not going to get yourself into a situation that's bad. So they literally, the US Navy, they came in and they vetted the entire company. They looked at all the employees. They looked at the corporate staff. They went background checks on every single one of these individuals. They went through the financials of the company. They went through all of the science and research and everything that I'm telling you about. They'd gone through and they looked at to make sure that the science was legitimate. They looked at our compensation plan and all of the little fine details of this company. When they got done, they said, all right, Admiral Winters, you can join. And he not only is a distributor, but he sits on our medical advisory board with Dr. Maroon and McCord and a number of other medical professionals that have come to us. So just to give you an idea, that's how cool these products are and why you need to be on. Okay, now, so we've gone through that. We actually have a skincare line. Okay, the skincare is super cool. It has a mud mask, so it helps with the exfoliating, different things like that. But also there's a toner and there's a serum, helps boost and create the fine lines and wrinkles, gets rid of those things. It boosts the production of collagen in your body, tells your body to start making the collagen. So it's just not some filler. It's really telling your body to actually get back to doing what it did when it was younger. Okay, super cool science and technology behind that. We have another product called Arrow. Arrow is a metabolic enhancer. When you can increase your metabolism, you can now burn fats and stuff 24 hours a day. Okay, somebody that's in shape, they're working out, and they got a lot of muscle, things like that. Their bodies have the ability to burn fat 24 hours a day. Well, this metabolic enhancer arrow, all natural, really cool, really safe. It tells your body to increase the metabolism. And so now you're able to start burning away those inches and stuff. And it's super, super cool. As you do that, when you burn those fats, you're now creating energy within inside the body. So it's like drinking an energy drink, okay? It tastes really good. It's just a light citrusy drink. You drink it. You can drink it in the morning. You can drink it all throughout the day. But what it does is now you got this energy level that's steady throughout the day, rather than having this. Oh, you drink some coffee or a Red Bull. 3 hours later, you crash. You got a headache, and you got to start all over again. This is literally just nice and steady throughout the day. Super cool product. So those are the 5 products that we have currently with the company. They're looking at bringing on more, but they'll do that at the right place at the right time, and they'll have products that aren't just me too products. Okay, so you look at that and you go check. Okay, timing. Okay, guys, let me come back to this. Here's a little S curve. We're right here with Mexico. Mexico's doing about 2+ million a month in sales. Okay, so they're getting very close to that $4 million benchmark, where they are going to explode down there in Mexico. By the way, when we met with Activz right before COVID, okay, they had about 20,000 distributors down there. Today, they have over 40,000 distributors, and it's becoming very well known down through those Latin American countries. Here in the US market, when Trish and I asked, we said, well, how many people do you have in the US? And I said, no, we really don't have any. We have a few people that signed up because they wanted the products from Dr. McCord and so forth. And they were familiar with that, but they hadn't really focused on launching the US market. So when Trish and I sat down with them, because of our history with this group of individuals and the systems that we have created to help people, they said, look, we will put you guys in charge of the US market. And can you help us get it going? Well, we really didn't get things going until July 1st of 2021. Okay, so we are literally just weeks into launching the US market. There's about 250 to 300 distributors in the US market. That's it. Okay, if you look at Mexico, they got 40,000. What do you think the US market's going to do? Guys, historically, the US market is the biggest and best market to ever be in network marketing. Okay, Asia's number 2. Mexico's in the top 5, but the US market is the number 1 place, and you guys get to be first. If you have ever in your life wanted to be first at something, be a part of being that one person. Again, remember what I said in the beginning, who you know, when you know that person, and then what you do with that information. Guys, you look at what has taken place. The company's already profitable. They're already successful. They're already paying out commission checks. We get a chance that literally, okay, some of the restrictions have lifted. We can start meeting with people. People understand Zoom. Everything has lined up. It's literally the perfect scenario to get involved with, okay? Everything is in place. So your timing couldn't be any better, okay? This is essentially what that last company, when my wife and I got involved, this is about when we got involved. And we did literally tens of millions of dollars worth of business. Literally, like I said, we helped a lot of people make a lot of money, and so did we, all because of this. We got to capture this big growth phase. They say in your life, you get 2 chances to ever participate in that. If you're over the age of 40, well, guess what? You've already missed your chance, okay? Well, here you go. Here's your lucky break. The person that invited you to this meeting, guess what? Thank them, because you got to hear about this before every single person else. We literally have states that have nobody in. My wife told me right before this meeting, she's like, hey, the first person signed up down in Texas. Okay, that's crazy. I mean, we have a couple people in California, a few people in Arizona, a few people in Utah. We got little pockets just kind of scattered here and there, but literally you get to be first. You get to be, I believe that everybody on this Zoom and watching this video right now, you got a chance to be a part of something because of who you are, and everything's lined up. And I don't think that's accidental. Okay, so if none of those things are accidental, and this is your chance to finally go do something, then do something with it. Don't miss out on it. Don't be so skeptical and, well, I don't know. Okay. I remember when I was younger, I asked my dad one day, I go, did I get born in the wrong family? He goes, why? I go, it seems like all the other families seem to get that lucky break, but we never get to. I go, when does our turn come around? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, but my advice to you, Eric, is this. He goes, if you ever get a chance working for one of those guys and they offer you an opportunity, he goes, don't be so bullheaded and stubborn that you miss it. He goes, that's the one regret that I had throughout his career. He was, like I said, a forest ranger, very conservative, got his little check and he stuck it in the bank and he didn't do much. He goes, I had a few chances to help us out financially, but he goes, I was too leery. And he goes, and I didn't. And I missed out. Actually, his assistant ranger jumped on board with an opportunity that made him millions. My dad goes, dang it, I missed my chance. So I was always kind of looking for my turn. I just wanted my turn. And when I got my turn, I was going to make the most of it. Guys, this is your chance to literally be in front of something that'll be massive. I believe just genomics alone here in the US market will do $800 to $1 billion a year in sales. Just the US market. Okay, we have the ability to open up over 220 countries right now. Okay, we already have that. We can ship internationally. We do all these little things because of the technology and where we're at today. Okay, right now the countries that have people in Australia, Japan, the US. That's about it. Okay, it is very, very small, but yet we got opportunity to be in 200 plus countries, and you get to be the one to help us do that. So timing couldn't be better. Okay, trends. Well, in 2007, when my wife and I got our lucky break, some things had happened. Remember the big crash in 2007? All of a sudden you had people that weren't looking at network marketing and going, you know what, I don't really care what it is. Can I make some money? I'm in. Okay. We had that dynamic line up. Well, fast forward here to 2021, what's happened over the last 18 to 24 months? We have people that lost their job. Big CEO, they were cut. Paychecks were cut. Maybe the spouse lost their job. You have a dynamic where people are looking for ways to make money. And on top of that, they're looking for ways to make money at home. Okay, we have the ability, look, all of you guys are just sitting at home kicking back. You can literally have a multi-million-dollar international business. You can run it from your living room, okay, from your laptop or a cell phone, no matter where you're at. That's the dynamic that is lined up. We got people that literally 2 years ago, like, oh, everything's good. It's the greatest economy in the history of the world. Now all of a sudden people are panicking because they lost their job and they're trying to figure out how to pay their mortgage or pay the car payment and get ahead and those kind of things. We got people that are going, you know what? I'm looking, and you're going to attract people that before wouldn't give you the time of day, but today they will. And they're going to scrutinize this, and we welcome that because everything is in line. So you look at that trend. You look at the other trend of health. Okay, people today are more conscious about their health than they ever have been. People are dropping weight. They're going to the gym. They're eating healthier. Why? Because they know that when you are doing those things, you have a greater chance of fighting off COVID, and you have a greater chance of, if you do get it, to not have the complications. So we got products that line up with that. See, everything is lining up. Now, if we were talking about 8-track players, guess what? We missed the boat. But today we're talking about health and wellness. It is the number one concern of people in this around the world is their health and also their finances. You couldn't ask for a better storm, okay? So the trends are in place. Compensation and the system, okay? I'm gonna talk about these in one fell swoop here. So I'm gonna erase this, okay? So everything is in place. How do you get started? You go, man, these products sound cool. I need them. I need my parents on them. I got my kids. They need to be on them. Well, there's a couple options. There's a $250 start package, and there's a $500 start package. Okay. The difference between these two is just how much product you get. The company put this $250 package together more for singles, maybe a single mom or a college student or something like that. You're going to get one of every one of our products. Okay. On the $500 package, this is for more of a family setup. This is a husband and wife, got some kids, maybe got your mom and dad, and you want to get these products into them right away. You're literally going to get multiples of every one of the products that we talked about. There's close to a little over $800 worth of product in this package. So it's the better value. And they did that intentionally because they need these products out into people and we need it fast, okay? So this right here is the best value. Now, to get started, okay, you pick one of those. So now you're in business. This is you, okay? It's your business. You don't work for me. You don't work for Activz. And there's some benefits to that. If you've never owned a business before, guess what? You realize that every tax law is written for the business owner. There's not one tax law that's written for the employee. All of, people say the rich people can take advantage of this. Well, it's the self-employed. It's the people who own the businesses. Those are the reason the tax laws. If you can run a business from your house, there's lots of tax advantages and strategies. Okay. Now, I'm not a CPA, but you can get with a CPA and they can show you all these things. So reason enough to do that. So this is your business. You get to call it whatever you want. Okay. Me and Tricia, it's paradigm marketing. We want to shift people's paradigm, the way that they're thinking, so that they realize that they can do more than just go to a 9-to-5 job and just try and survive. Okay. So let's say you come in here at the $500 option. Okay. Now I picked that because I got the numbers memorized for this one, not the 250. Okay. Again, high school guy, not this math genius. But our goal is to do this, is to help you bring on 4 individuals. Our compensation plan only requires 4 organization or 4 legs to get to the very top of the company. So all you really need is 4 people. Do you know 4 people on planet Earth that need to improve their health, that would like to protect themselves and their family against COVID and all the other stupid things that are going on with their health? Okay, well, let's talk to them. Do you know people that need to make some money like yesterday? Okay, well, let's talk to them. If you put them on Zoom, every night we have a Zoom that people can plug into. Or if I'm close to somebody, I'll go sit down and go to lunch with them, or I'll go over to their house and we can talk to them. My wife and I, we're sitting down as many people as we can and sharing this as often as we can. And literally, we have lots of ways to get this information out. We have a 20-minute video that covers everything. And you can send that to them. It's called activzpresentation.com. Send it to them. They can watch it. Okay. We're just looking for 4 individuals along those lines. And that's all you need. So let's say you help bring on 4 individuals of this 500. Okay. I'm going to show you 2 of 9 bonuses. Okay. I'm going to show you there's a one-time bonus that you get when somebody signs up, and then there's a residual bonus. The residual bonus to me is the most important. This is the money that comes in month after month after month after month, and that's the retirement money. Okay, this is the money that is awesome. It's like when a songwriter, they sing a song and it gets played on iTunes. Every time it gets played on iTunes, they get a little kickback. Okay, every time somebody watches a YouTube video, that person gets a little kickback. That's what residual income is. Okay, so if you've got 4 people that come on with this, the company is going to pay you 20% of that 500. Okay, or they're going to pay you 20% of the 250. So if you got 4 people that do that, that's going to pay you $400. If you do help bring on those individuals within the first 30 days of you enrolling, well, then the company gives you another $80. So now you've made $480, plus they'll give you $100 worth of product for free. Okay, pretty cool thing. So not only do you recoup your initial investment, but you're money ahead because of the products that they've given you. And you can actually pick whatever products you want. But now you've made $480. Okay, now our goal is to set these people up so that when those products run out, everything's on a 30-day supply. And it's, again, going back to what Peter Drucker said, has to be a consumable item. Because it's consumable and so it's packaged in a 30-day supply, when they run out and they've gotten results, guess what? They reorder. Well, almost every single person we've ever put on here, they reorder because of the impact that these products make. Okay, so the average order from individuals each month is about $240. Some order more, some order less. So the company put together that trifecta. For $240, you can get 2 of the Optimum, 2 of the Link, and 2 of the Genomics. Okay, all packaged in a 30-day supply. So there's enough for husband and wife. Okay, a lot of companies like, well, $240, that covers 1 person. Oh, come on, I want my wife to be just as healthy as me. Okay, so Activz, they put together a product package that everybody can get on and afford. Okay, just, rather, it's like money's tight. Well, quit going to Circle K and getting the coffee. Okay, put some good stuff into your body. But $240 is what the average is. If these 4 individuals do that, that's going to pay you $100. You go, well, Eric, that's not a whole lot of money. Yeah, it is. So what happens is it's compounding, because those people will buy that product every single month for the rest of your life. So every month you get a $100 check. Okay, if $100 isn't much to you, just call me. My wife will figure out what to do with it. Okay, but $100 is, it starts. What happens is now you're going to have the compounding effect. Everybody's heard they'll give you $1 million or 1 penny compounded over 30 days. Well, if you're smart, you pick the compounding penny, because it adds up to something like $5 million at the end of 30 days. This here similar concept. When you understand compounding, this is the magic of network marketing, because these 4 individuals, they're going to each bring on 4. Okay. That's all everybody needs to do is just 4. Just 4. That's it. Right there, there's a total of 20 people. Those 16, you're going to make 8% off of their original sign up, was 8% of the 500 or 8% of the 250. Let's say they all do the 500. It's going to pay you $570. Okay. So now you created an income. You didn't even know these people. Okay. They just signed up. Okay. Now, those same 16 people, if they do that same $240 auto ship, that's going to pay you $250 a month. So now you've got your business is profitable from here on out. Your products are covered. They're literally free at this point. Okay, because you're making $250. That covers everything. Okay, this right here is magical. So those 16 get 4. There's 64 on that level. Those 64 come to the 500. That's going to pay you $4,000 on that one-time bonus. Residually, that's going to pay you $1,500. That's $18,000 a year. You got 3 levels in, okay? Barely 100 people, and you're making $18,000 a year, okay? You could literally do this in 1 week. This could be the 2nd week. This could be the 3rd week, okay? You could literally be making $1,500 a month residually just after your first month. Can that happen? Yeah, we've got people that have made more than this in their first month. We got a guy who lives in a little tiny town called Orangeville in Utah. Look it up, it's about population 2,000. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's related to everybody. His first month in this industry made a little over $3,000. Okay, guys, this system works. Because what happens if you have more than 4 people? Well, you can just place that person somewhere down below. You're just filling in the gaps. So now everybody's working together. It's a beautiful system. You're not just out there hung out by yourself trying to figure it all out. Everybody works together. We help explain what's going on. And if there's extras, they just show up somewhere down below you and you get paid on that as well. Okay, kind of a cool concept. Well, 64 get 4, that's 256. Okay, fast start bonus. Now you've made $10,000 from those 256 people, 4,570. So you made $15,000 right there in your first month, just off the one-time bonuses. Okay, the residual off of those would be $5,000, $60,000 a year. That's going to replace a lot of people that lost their job and their income. They could literally recoup an income within 30 to 60 days and be back to where they were at, you know, and get that head above water and get caught up back on the bills and those kind of things, get that breathing room. Just 256. Some of you are like, well, that's not enough. I need a little more. I'll show you the next one. Now you got 1,024 on that level. You're going to get paid $20,000 from those 1,000 people when they sign up. And now you're going to be making $15,000 a month. See the big jump? 1,500 to 5,000 to 15,000. Okay. It pays down a total of 8 levels, dynamically compressed. The next level, just so you know, is your residual would be like $55,000 a month. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, that's what I used to think. Okay. Until I started making that kind of money. Our last deal, my wife and I signed up 35 people and it turned into 250,000 people in 27 countries. I never went to any of those countries. Okay. But people, that's how network marketing works. All you're doing is just creating a network of people that are buying and consuming and using these products. These are products that do work. The science backs themselves up. The compensation plan pays out very fairly. Okay. When you get to this point where you're making about $10,000 a month, there's a car bonus. The company will start paying you $500 a month to go buy a new car. Okay. So you go pick out a new car or just start paying on the car payment that you currently have. And as that business increases, it goes from 500 to 600 to 700, all the way up to $1,000 a month. Every month, they're just going to send you an additional check just to go get a car. Okay, maybe you want to get rid of your car and get one that starts and maybe a brand new one. Okay, that's part of the bonus. Here's a bonus that's super cool. Okay, every month they take 10% of the global sales and they put it into a kitty. And when you get to where you're making just a couple $100 a month, you now get to be a part of that pool. And you're going to split 1% of the monthly sales worldwide with that group of people. And then as your business grows, now you get another 1% that you're going to split of the global sales worldwide. So great. We're loving that Mexico is ahead of us, and they're doing $2 million a month. So that's roughly $25 to $30 million they will do this year down in Mexico alone. And you can get a percentage of that, even if you know nobody in Mexico, just because you build your business. Okay. And our last company, they had a bonus similar to this. It was 4%. That bonus alone paid me more in a month than what I used to make in a year. Because what's 4% of 200 million? A lot. Okay. Well, this is 2.5 times that amount. Okay. What's 10% of 100 million? Split between you and I and a few of our closest friends. What's 10% of 500 million? Split between you and I and a few of our closest friends. Okay. You see the power of working together as a group. Okay. This right here. By the way, if you get to $75,000 a month in volume within your first year, there's a special bonus called the founder's bonus. You got 12 months from the day that you sign up. If you can get your business to where it's doing $75,000 a month in volume, there's a special bonus. Okay, you're going to split 1% with anybody that hits that level for the rest of your life in the business. How cool is that? Okay, Activz has put together a formulation, a plan that is fair to everybody. It's fair to the brand new people. You can see, you can start making significant money right away, and there's significant money for those that want to take it to the next level if you've ever wanted to do that. Okay, this is this compensation plan is beautiful. Okay, it's the most lucrative one I've ever seen it, but it's also the most fair one that I've ever seen. And that's important, that it's fair through the whole thing. Okay, so that's a compensation plan. The system is that everybody's working together. You only need 4, but if you got more than 4, then they're just going to go somewhere down below there. And the system is this, that we're helping you. You didn't just sign up and I go, well, I hope you make it. You take advantage of that timing. No, we want to make sure that you are able to capture timing and you understand the products, and that when you're talking to somebody, that we've got somebody there to help you explain it to them, so you're not being the Lone Ranger. That's not this in this industry. One of the things that really makes me mad is what I call a drive-by sponsor. Somebody signs somebody up and it's the last time you ever see or hear anything about the company. Okay, here we literally have our best interest to make sure that you succeed, and we're going to help you do that. Okay, that's part of the system. So now when you look at everything, well, we got everything in the companies lined up, the products, timing, the trends, the compensation plan, the system. Every one of those key components gets a little check mark. That means everything is in place. The odds of this ever happening in your life is twice. Okay, that's it. This is one of those magic moments, and you get to be first. Now, what you need to do if you're brand new, we've got websites. Activz.info has everything about our company, the products, the corporate staff, everything, research, videos from Dr. Maroon, Dr. McCord, all those things are there. And you can go down through there and you can see it. It's a very simple website to follow. Okay, activzpresentation.com. You can literally go watch this again. A lot shorter time frame, okay? But I like to spend a little extra time because I want you to understand what you have an opportunity to be a part of. I don't want you to make a decision based off of not enough information. I want you to make a good decision, okay? Because of how rare this is and the chance that you get to be first. Anyways, guys, thanks for spending time with me. I look forward to meeting you as we get out and about. I'm literally on the road right now, traveling all over, meeting with different groups. And so as we start to see little areas pop up, my wife and I will fly out there, or David Brown will fly out there, and we're just getting everything rolling. And you guys get to be a part of that process and setting that all up. Guys, I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this. If you've ever wanted your chance at something big, this is it. And like, hopefully you do like my wife and I. When we got our chance, we weren't going to miss it. Okay, I was willing to learn things. This is not hard to figure out what to say and how to say it. It just takes a couple times listening to, and you've got it. Or just hit send. You can literally send that presentation via text and let somebody watch it, and it will, if they have questions, they can go to activz.info and you can get all the answers to your questions there, or get them on the phone with myself or the person that invited you. So anyways, guys, thank you for your time. Welcome to Activz, and let's go get this thing. Have a good night. Bye-bye.